Hello everyone, welcome to the L.T.L tutoring video series. My name is Ron Johnson, and this week is a bit of an extension on last week's video about don't hate math. You can learn to love math if you follow a few steps to help you along the way. Math will always work for you once you learn it. So don't be afraid of math, don't push it away, don't be intimidated by it. Take a few moments, take a few steps. And sometimes you have to go back and pick up some pieces that you're missing, but that's okay too. So if you're working on a math question or a series of math questions, first of all, try to understand what's being asked. Read the question, read it more than once, and ask yourself, do I understand what's being asked here? And then look to the left, look to the right, look up above, look down below, because there's often information that can help you. And I've had lots of students come and they look just at the math question and they don't look right to the left where there may be a perfectly clear description of what to do, along with some examples with step-by-step method of doing the question and coming up with the answer. So you can use that model or that example to help you with your particular question or series of questions. So don't forget to look around, and beyond that, of course, you can always look at the back of your, if you're using a textbook, you can look at the back of your textbook in the index and see if on another page there's information that can help you. That's especially useful if you need to go take a couple of steps back from the unit you're on. Maybe you've forgotten an earlier unit and you need that to do this particular series of questions. Break down the question into components. You don't have to think about everything all at once. You can sort of break it down into pieces and then work on it from there. Sometimes students become overwhelmed with word problems in particular, or longer algebraic equations or expressions, for example. But just break it down piece by piece and take it one step at a time, and you don't have to panic about the whole thing all at once. The other piece to look at is you can approach the question in different ways. There's more than one way to do most math questions. So if you're not fully understanding the one method, try some other methods. Try to look at it from another angle. Go online, look up some videos, look up some blog posts that might help explain it in a different way. We don't all have the same entry point. We don't all understand things in exactly the same way. So sometimes having someone else explain it a little differently. I often, with my students, I draw out diagrams or pictures. I try to use anecdotes. I try to connect the math with real-life examples whenever I can, so that they can visualize and see how the math works, and also why do we use math in it anyway. And that can really help a lot. You may need to show your work in a particular way for that teacher, because some teachers have only one method that they like to see, and that's fine. But that doesn't stop you from figuring out another entry point or another method that can lead you to understanding the approach that your teacher is taking. Of course, you can access the teacher to help you as well. He or she knows exactly what he or she wants, so that may be the best resource, but it's not always available to you. So you can certainly go online and you can ask a tutor like myself or someone else, another student in class who knows as well. So there are different approaches, different ways of doing a question. Breaking it down into pieces will help you a lot. And if you're using a calculator, that's fine for some questions, although I want you to try to learn as much of the basic math as you can without a calculator. It helps to wire the brain mathematically. It helps you also to understand and see exactly how math works. It's not just numbers. I want you to think about math in a different way. It's not just numbers and operations. It actually connects to real life. We use math all the time for various things. Sometimes you might not even know when you're using math. but it is important to see math as your friend, and in order for it to be your friend, you need to understand that it isn't just random symbols. They actually have meaning, they have content and context, and math can be quite beautiful. So I want you to look at it that way, and that will help you to understand it better, but it will also make you feel more friendly toward math and be able to maybe not love math, but at least you can like it and maybe learn to love it as time goes on. If you are using a calculator, which you will for much more complex operations and calculations, but if you are, keep track of your steps. I always say get a piece of paper or scrap paper, keep track of your steps so that if you get lost, you may not have to go all the way back to step one. It can be very frustrating, especially in a multiple step question or a series of questions. So keep track of what you've got along the way. And you often have to show your work anyways, so it's always a good idea to write these steps down, and then you have all the work to transfer into your book or online if you're doing it that way. So those are some very good tips. And also, one more thing I want to mention is check your answer and see if it makes sense. This is so important. Sometimes students do very simple questions and they write down an answer that makes no sense. And this can be with a calculator. In fact, it often happens more often with a calculator than it does without a calculator. I don't know why. They just push the wrong button on the calculator and they trust the machine so much that they'll write down the answer even if it makes no sense whatsoever. So you're adding $2 and $3.50 and $8 together, and someone's purchasing these three items, and you come up with an answer of $115.75. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever if you think about it, but if you just trust the calculator, write the answer down, and move on. And that's the other piece. Don't just rush. Don't just rush through it. Think about math. Remember, it's going to become your friend. It's real. It has meaning. It's not just numbers and symbols. And if you're just rushing through it and you're just hoping to get the best, that's not really the best method. So think about it ahead of time. Try to put it in context. Try to connect it to something that you understand. And then when you get your answer, look back and say, does that make sense? Does it sort of fit? Is the number that I came up with, does it have anything to do with the reality of the question, or is it way off base? For example, if you're looking for the mean or the median or the mode, if your answer is smaller than the smallest number or larger than the largest number, you automatically know that it's the wrong answer. But a lot of people don't take time to look. So take the time you need to do the question, work through the steps methodically, and then check your answer. And you'll find that math is not all that complicated or all that difficult, and that you can master any math question. I have confidence in you. I'm going to put a link below to the website. I'm also going to put a link to the blog, and I'm going to put a link, a discount coupon for my fractions course, because I think it's an excellent course and a lot of students have trouble with fractions. It's online. You can do it at your own pace and very reasonably priced, so you can access it as often as you like. You have a lifetime that you can come back to it over and over again if you need to remind yourself. In the meantime, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Either if you're watching this on YouTube, you can ask below, or you can send me an email. Check out the website, send me an email. I love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and as I say, make a comment or ask a question. I'll be happy to answer. It's Ron from L.T.L Tutoring Central, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.